So for many golfers, the driver, there's a love-hate relationship. They really want to use it and they know it should go further, but very often they set up, hit that driver, and they get that low, slicey one over to the right. But even though I've hit it out the middle of the club, with decent club speed and decent ball speed, we can see it's only carried 210 yards, run out a total of 235. And that actually might be beneficial. It's not run out too far because that's offline and it's only getting in trouble. So what if I told you that by the end of today's video, you're going to understand what you need to do different at setup, but also in the golf swing to set up with driver and hit the ball more accurately, maybe pick up a bit of club head speed, pick up a lot of ball speed, and start hitting the ball very, very different distances, like that 244 carrying 280, and maybe even get rid of the slice and start drawing the golf ball. Now, I know what you're thinking if you're watching this. I can't draw my curtains, let alone draw the ball with driver. So let's talk initially about what golfers do wrong. And I know a lot of the time, and please comment below if you agree with this, people say I'm not bothered about what I'm doing wrong. I think sometimes you need to understand what you're doing in order that when you make the change, you won't always see the perfect result, but as long as you're doing it differently, you're giving yourself the best chance of producing the best shot. So the first thing I tend to see as a mistake for a lot of golfers is they probably tee the ball a little bit low. And that's normally because when they swing and the ball's up high, the club comes back, the ball comes off the top and the ball pops up in the air, and the only one they get in play only goes about 50, 60 yards, but goes into orbit. So a lot of the time golfers tee the ball low, and I think they kind of set up very, very similar as how they would with irons. They just move the ball a little further forward. And what that creates is the shoulders are quite level, the weight's pretty 50-50, and as they swing back, everything's pretty good. They shift into that lead side, sternum starts moving towards the target, and they hit down on the golf ball and take all the loft off driver. Now the problem with that is when you take all the loft off, even with a good strike, if you manage to get one straight, which is difficult, it's just so low that it just doesn't get up in the air. And even with great speed there, it's carried 89 yards, rolled out 160. But it would be straight. So the first thing golfers do there, and this isn't even a conscious thing, is as they know that goes low, they're going to try and create loft. And the easy way they find to create loft is just to leave that club face open. There's more loft there. And obviously that's going to set off right and shape. And then the golf swing starts getting more and more this way from a setup position that's already there. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is raise the tee height. So I'm going to go from the pink castle tee up to the orange tee. And I know you might be thinking, well, that's fine. I've done that before. And when I've set up then and put the swing on it, I've skied it, which is why I've gone back down. So we're going to move up onto the higher tee. We're going to keep that ball position forward. And the little alteration we're going to make at address is we're going to move the ball position, the club head a little bit further back away. And we're going to feel that the left shoulder, lead shoulder, is lower than the trail. Now, the big thing with that is when your shoulders are level, if you look down the line, they're starting to work off to the left, which is encouraging this movement. As we get left shoulder higher than right, we can see it's going to encourage a change of path, but it's also going to encourage the low point behind the golf ball and the club travelling up. So, and again, I'm sure a lot of golfers will say, look, I've watched the videos about this. I understand that, but I maybe haven't moved that back before, but when I do that and then swing, I just get this shot. Off the planet right, never going to be seen again, poor strike, didn't actually make my low point loads better, launched high, spun loads, carried 190, rolled out 200, but it's a lost ball. So what I'm going to say is And this is really important to understand, that if you're going to start trying to move that low point back, a couple of things we want to do is we want to try and swing more to the right from the inside, which will encourage the low point to be more behind. We're also going to close the stance a little bit. So we're going to pull that back foot back to encourage more from that way. And I want you to feel like on the way through, you're not trying to steer that club face and having this kind of feel, because that kind of feel through impact, that club face is just wide open. You're going to feel that once we're aligned and set up, you're going to feel those forearms just rotate a little bit more and almost be willing to get one to miss left, to curve from right to left, which for a lot of you, you probably won't get its curve right to left. It'll probably shape less left to right to begin with. So, a few things there at setup. We're going to take that grip. We're going to have that ball forward. Instead of being directly behind, we're going to maybe move a good club head width behind. Get those shoulders aligned more to the right, left higher than right. Pull that foot back. So there's a few things to think about. None of them are swing thoughts. That's all set up. And then you'll have a practice swing from there and feel that the forearms are rotating. And like I said, we need to get that club face closing now to the new path we've created. So we're going to set up, be willing to miss left. And we can see there, I've done probably what a lot of you will do. I actually haven't really got the ball curving too much, but there's no slice. Club head speed's up, low points behind. It was a little bit low launch. The spin was good though, but carried 253, rolled out 278. And the most important thing there is not just it's longer, but it's also in play. Now, what I would definitely want, and this is where maybe I'm a little different from a lot of golfers watching, as a general rule, I've always found it quite easy getting that club face to close. So I work quite hard on not doing that normally. But for a lot of golfers, that's a position they see at impact, maybe more there. So they've got to feel that club head working better through impact. So again, we're going to set up club behind, ball forward, shoulders tilted, back foot back. Maybe on this one, I'm going to feel that as I start down, my sternum is going to stay back behind. So I'll catch the ball later in the swing, giving that club face a split second longer to close. Bit like that one. So again, doesn't feel like I'm putting massive effort into that either, but we see a pickup in club head speed at 106. Ball speed at 158. Low point 6.5 inches behind, so the club's travelled up 4.4 degrees. Launched at 10.5. Pretty good strike, not absolutely flushed. Spin at just over 2,000, carry at just over 256, and rolling out nearly 290. So definitely what we're doing there is not only am I delivering the club in a position to give me more accuracy, but I'm also delivering the club more efficiently so that it's travelling up, starting to launch the ball a little higher than I would on that straight one before that hardly got off the floor. But I'm not adding loft by leaving the club face open. I'm adding loft by the club travelling up. It is amazing how many golfers, even though they feel like that actually felt slower for me, but I've used the ground a little better, got the energy into the club head, so actually started hitting the ball further and more accurately. So what I would want you to do is do a lot of those. Feel that you can take that onto the golf course with that ball forward, club head set back, feet a little closed, shoulders tilted, and then feel that the upper body stays behind and get that club rotating. But that'll feel effortless, hopefully. And if you can produce that, you will undoubtedly do what I will do, which is then go, surely I can generate a little bit more speed than that. And that's what I want you to work towards. I want you to feel that as you set up, you can now feel like you're going to try and swing the club a bit faster, but do what we did before. And that didn't feel right out the middle. So a little bit low off the face. Club head speed pretty much the same. Ball speed very similar. Low point and attack angle the same, but now carrying at 265 and rolling out 295. And again, another one in the fairway. So this isn't just about hitting the ball 40, 50 yards further, it's being more accurate as well. Now, let's see, can I get one? Just one final one, let's go. Doing those things, and can I get 300 yards total? And I always think it's nice in a practice session to give yourself a goal. The goal there of delivering the club was great. If I can continue to deliver like that, a little quicker, slightly better strike, 300 yards is a possibility. Could do with getting to 108 club head speed really, but that's fine. Set up, club set back, everything's good, and now it's time. So that felt good. 107 mile an hour club speed, just over 158 ball speed. I've hit up just under 4 degrees. Everything's ticking the boxes with strike, launch and spin. Carrying at 270 and total at 295, and absolutely straight down the line of the middle of the fairway. So, did I pick up some massive distance from setting up differently to the golf ball and feeling that different sensation through the bottom? Yes, and it's all about if you can deliver the golf club better at impact and more efficient with driver, you are going to be more accurate, you are going to hit the ball further. 300 yards wasn't achieved for me. You'll have your own different little targets that you'd like to be hitting, but comment below when you've worked through this, particularly after a few weeks. Let me know how it's improved your driving, and maybe, just maybe, you'll start hitting the longest and straightest drives you've ever hit.